What, are you telling me that you don't do CBeebies Land on your own as a grown-ass adult? You are missing out. Welcome to Hot Girl Stomps. Hello, Gemma.
Hi, Cheri.
How are you?
How are you? Not seen you in ages.
Oh, I know. We definitely haven't already recorded an episode of the podcast today already, and have definitely not just eaten an entire camembert and
some French baguette.
French baguettes, fresh baked.
The 2026 diet starts tomorrow.
Oh, goodness me. What a day. What a day.
What a day.
So, Gemma, I believe as I'm still nursing a New Year hangover, you're graciously doing all of the legwork on this episode for me. So
just carrying this entire podcast on
she's
my back,
literally carrying the podcast. I do nothing. This is Gemma's podcast featuring Cheri. What have you got for me today, Gemma?
So today I recently went on some travels with my small young ones and was inspired as it's somewhere I imagine the majority of the listeners will know of, and anyone certainly listening in from the UK will know of, but maybe not necessarily from its ghost history side of things. I'm going to be talking about Alton Towers today.
Alton
specifically.
Blummin' Towers.
Alton Blummin' Towers. For anyone who's listening outside of the UK, Alton Towers is the UK's biggest theme park. I believe it's 7th most visited in Europe.
Is it? It's
potentially the world.
I have to say, Alton Towers is my ride or die theme park.
You love a bit of Alton Towers.
I love Alton Towers so much, and I miss it. And
is that partly because of its spooky history?
Partly because of the spookiness. I just like the rides. Like, it's just a good theme park. It's very well laid out. I just enjoy it. I really enjoy the rides. Oblivion, now the Wicker Man. If you guys have not been to Alton Towers since the Wicker Man was built, you have to go, and you have to go when the park's open late, and go on it when it's lit, because it's the best. But also I went through a stint of going for the scarefest at Halloween. I wish they did a spooky Christmas. That would be so good.
With a demonic Santa.
But yeah, they do, similar in the US to the like the Halloween horror nights and stuff that they do. They do that at Alton Towers as well. The park stays open late, and they've got scare actors walking around and stuff. Part of when they do the mazes, some of them actually go into the towers themselves as well. So I have been inside the towers technically, but as part of a scare maze. So I love it. I just think it's great. I want to go back. Let's go.
So again, for anyone who doesn't know, Alton Towers is a theme park in Alton. Funnily enough, in Middle England, in sort of like Derbyshire, the Peak District kind of area.
Staffordshire. I think it's classed as Staffordshire,
probably,
I think,
yes.
isn't it?
But if I can sort of paint a picture for you, it's I'd never been to the Alton Towers gardens.
Oh, okay.
Till lockdown.
Okay.
And then obviously the theme park was shut, but when it started lifting, they opened the gardens,
cute.
and obviously only let so many people in. So me and Lou went. They were stunning.
They are beautiful.
I would go back again.
Yeah, they
were so nice. So yeah, sorry, I'm doing that ADHD thing where I'm flipping. So basically, it's a theme park, but it's on a stately home estate.
Yes.
Really, in essence.
Yeah. I feel like this has happened a lot in the UK with a lot of our attractions we've got. Dudley Castle's a great example, in that it was a castle and they built a zoo around it, which is exactly what they've done with Alton Towers.
Warwick Castle, to a lesser extent. Warwick Castle is mainly more about the history.
Castle and history, yeah.
But still, yeah, we
Alton
love
Towers,
to Turner.
They took the towers and they were like, do you know what this beautiful, grand estate home and gardens needs? Roller coasters. Boom.
How could you not make that any better?
Have they got a zoo at Alton Towers as well? Drayton Manor's got one. I don't know whether they've got a zoo. I think they've got an aquarium, haven't they? They've got like a sea life centre.
And again, hadn't, till I had little people to take with me, because previously, you don't do CBeebies Land and you don't do the aquarium. You're there to.
What, are you telling me that you don't do CBeebies Land on your own as a grown-ass adult?
I mean,
you are missing out.
It has been known. No. And I think it started to rain. #classic. So we took the kids and it was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good for what it was, like being in a theme park.
Yeah.
No, it was really good. So yeah, you've got this beautiful Gothic derelict building just on a mound, haven't you?
Yeah.
a lake, and just the echoes of screams.
Yeah.
From all distances. From
and
all these
vomiting
roller
as they get off
coasters.
Nemesis.
And then you can walk around the stately home gardens as like a separate section, and they are stunning. There's Japanese waterfalls in there. It is beautiful.
Yeah, the sky lift goes over the gardens, and like you get a bit of like an idea of how vast it was. And yeah, it's gorgeous. Depending on what time of the year you go as well, it's great.
So, but as with all, UK old buildings, it has its history.
It has some spooks.
It has supposedly some spooks knocking around. So I'm not going to do like an hour on the whole history of the towers, but basically 3,000 years ago, sort of 700 AD time, it was an Iron Age fort. There was also a big bloody battle. I think the King of Wessex and another king had a big battle there, which didn't actually have a conclusion. But the battle was so bloody and so many lives lost without anybody actually really winning. It was renamed Slain Hollow.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That goes back. I can't remember what episode we talked about this, but one of our previous episodes we mentioned actually like why is the Midlands such a hot spot?
Yeah.
And again, it's that armies thing. I think it's like the armies of the north, the armies of the south, and just that natural meeting point is in that middle stretch
and we're
of
nice
the
and
UK.
Flat.
And we're very flat. Yeah.
Big nice
exactly.
fields to do battling.
Yet again, another, major bloody battle that potentially has spurred the spooks. Just because of our location.
All those innocent men.
Yeah, we've really won the jackpot, haven't we? Really, being from the Midlands, I think, from a ghost point of view.
I think so, definitely. There's so much, so many things we can talk about, and Alton Towers being a great one, just because it spans over so much history. So that was kind of the beginnings of it, and then the fortress obviously grew, and then just became places for gentry and royal.
Yeah,
members of extended royal family to stay as a little. It was commonly used as a bolt hole. Was the major vibe that I got.
Okay.
Wasn't necessarily a permanent dwelling for a lot of people. It would just be sort of like summer house,
somewhere
hence
to stop
why they're
off on
building
travels.
gardens.
Yeah,
100%. So a bit of a halfway house. In 1442, it was a hunting lodge, whereby this would have been the time period of the chained oak.
Oh,
as
yeah.
I'm sure you're aware, which I think is its main quote-unquote ghost story.
Yes.
Again, just for those of you who don't know, I will summarise it. So at this particular point of time in history, the Towers estate was owned by the Talbots, did we say?
Talbot family, the Earls of Shrewsbury?
Shrewsbury. Talbot's in the other Shrewsbury. And the story goes that he was travelling back one evening to the Towers estate via his carriage, and an old beggar woman stopped the carriage and begged for some money off him, which he, very Beauty and the Beast vibes, he disgruntledly told her to get stuffed, basically.
Get away from me,
Get away
peasant.
from my carriage. I want to get back to he's probably been on a hunt, I don't know.
Estate,
wants to just get home, tucked up into bed with the fireplace and whatnot. He says no, and he said no to the wrong woman.
Oh no.
She was of ghostly witchy background apparently, and
good for you, babes.
Out in the middle of this forest, which is funnily enough what inspired the story. So I didn't actually take my kids to Alton Towers because it is January and Alton Towers is shut. We went for a walk along the Dillington Trail, which is right near it's a 15-minute walk from the Towers, near the Ramblers Retreat. And I was so angry with myself when I realised afterwards this was the forest that has the chained oak in.
Yeah, well, we're just going to have to go.
That I didn't go and take a look at.
We're just going to have to go.
So we're just going to have to go again.
We'll have to go to Alton Towers. Oh, what a shame.
But yeah, I was walking through the very forest that the Earl would have been taking his
within
path.
the same spiritual realm.
To me, right, considering it was broad daylight and I had my two feral crotch goblins with me, like screaming and splashing about.
And your mother.
I did think, me and my mum were saying, because there was, one of those houses that some millionaire, whether they've got shares in Alton Towers, I don't know, like a beautiful lodge type house in the middle of the woods, panoramic glass. And we were saying,
very Carlisle Cullen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the Twilight House, essentially,
Yeah.
It did have... I could understand a creepy vibe, to be honest.
I love a vibe.
I love a vibe.
I love being somewhere where you've got no prior knowledge of it, but you pick that up.
Yeah, because I'd not twigged in any way, shape or form, but me and my mum were just saying, like, because being winter, I think we ended the walk about 4ish, you know, and it's starting, even at that time, it's starting to get dark. And I was like, don't
I'm not feeling so comfortable here, Mother.
I don't know if I love this.
Come on, children, hurry up.
Come now. Dragging them along. So, yeah, I thought, and then realising afterwards, I thought, I need to do a story on the Alton Towers story. So, going back on this ADHD round circle, going back. So, this was the forest path he was on, and this old woman, after he'd said, go away, this woman cursed an oak tree that was within the forest where they were, and told him that for every branch that falls off this oak, a member of his family would die.
Oh my goodness.
Indeed. And there was a storm that very night, the story goes, that he turned away the woman, and a member of his family did indeed die.
Because I'm assuming
a few days later,
like snapped a branch off, and then someone died.
So in a fit of Victorian madness, glory, with this man with all this disposable income, he got some male workers and they chained huge iron chains to this tree to basically try and uphold this tree and
give it some more structure, stop the branches falling.
From branches ever falling. And the chains remain on the tree to this day.
I wonder if this guy's still got like direct bloodline. I'm assuming the Talbots still own Alton Towers. I would assume they don't. Or is it owned by the park, by Merlin now?
Yes, okay, I will get onto that.
I'm assuming that he's still got ancestors that are alive. I wouldn't look, like going back.
The family have since confirmed, because obviously that tree is thousands of years old now. And despite being chained, and actually, I think I read somewhere that the chains have actually caused more damage.
Yeah, I can imagine they. Well, as the tree expands, they're probably digging into it now.
So branches have indeed fallen, and there have been no imminent family deaths.
I was going to say, this is like, again, this keeps coming up, but Final Destination bloodlines, that vibe going on.
Yeah,
like if I was like, oh yeah, I've just been doing my ancestry and I found out I'm related to the first Earl of Shrewsbury. Oh no, does that mean I'm cursed? Am I going to die if this tree, if a specific, branch on this tree falls off? Like, is that my branch? I would be a nervous wreck if I was a member of that family.
I suppose the real root of it is how, however you believe magic and curses work. When the Earl died, did it no longer apply?
Did she show
when
mercy?
She died?
Yeah.
Did her magic die with it?
Maybe.
Or was it a load
of... Was it just to scare
Was
him?
it just a unfortunate coincidence that somebody... I think I want to say it was of some kind of like scarlet fever, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, back in those times, people's life expectancy wasn't great. People died all the time. We didn't have modern medicine. She probably knew there was a storm coming as well. I'd do that. I think I'd do that just to scare someone.
Yeah.
To be honest, and be like, oh, you bastard, not giving me any money. I know what I can do. This goes back to our mediumship episode, I think, in that people sometimes can just pick up things, predict things that are going to happen based on logic, just to get a message across to someone. I wonder if that was it. I'd do that.
So. Definitely. But so that's its main big ghost story, and so much so that Merlin, the company that owns the theme park side of things, generated a ride called Hex.
Yes.
Purely based around that story.
I love Hex. I never pay attention to the story when I'm in Hex.
Oh, do you not?
No. I like looking. So when you're queuing, if those of you that have never been to Alton Towers, so Hex is actually within the towers, within the estate. It's
the only ride that
is the only ride. Yeah, the only ride that's actually within the actual towers, because obviously the rest of the theme park is all around in the grounds. When you're queuing, you go through this massive entrance, which obviously would have been one of the main doors into the towers, I would assume. And then they've got stuff, they've got all paintings in there and furniture that's moving. It's proper Disney Haunted Mansion vibe. It's basically a lesser version of Disney's Haunted Mansion in terms of how they operate it. And then you go around, it's a shooting one, isn't it? You go around in a car and you have to shoot the targets. Is that what Hex is? No, Hex is the one with the room that moves. What's the one that's the shooty one? Because that one, when you go through that. I think that one goes through the towers a little bit as well. But they've got basically a fake version of that at Drayton Manor as well, Hex. It's exactly the same ride, but a different ghost story.
Oh.
Have you ever been on it? I think it's called The Haunting at Drayton Manor. It's basically the same ride.
The experience I have of Drayton Manor in the real times
Not
is
good.
my... No.
Oh.
Just, I only ever go to Thomasland.
Thomasland, that's fair. Gemma's
and that's where
son,
we spend our time.
Gemma's son, for context, trains. That's all.
Thomas.
That's all you need to know.
Specifically.
Just Thomas and trains. So that makes sense. Go if you find yourself there again. I believe that the entrance to the Haunting is right opposite Thomas Land.
Yeah.
So give it a go.
I will.
But yeah, so it is. I don't pay attention when I'm going around it. I don't really pay attention to what the story is of it. And I think maybe next time I go, I need to actually properly sit and listen to what they're talking about as I go into it. So.
But yeah, from then, from the Earl of Shrewsbury, to be honest, from the research I was doing, in comparison to a lot of other locations, again, I think because it wasn't really a homestead as such, it was more a holiday home,
hunting lodge,
that kind of thing. Its history isn't that
fast,
dark or grim. I'm sure things have happened, but nothing hugely to note. So like I say, I'm not going to go on and on about all the minor details, but there's still, so as a theme park now, obviously, you know, there's people constantly there, whether that be the workers or the security people, and there are several long-staying ghost stories of around the area, notably the Grey Lady.
Yes, it's always a grey lady.
Always grey. Why not indigo? Anyway, she apparently haunts like the some staircases and the conservatory garden sort of areas, apparently accompanied by a smell of lavender.
Interesting.
Particularly.
So the conservatory, actually, I've been in the conservatory within the towers. So normally when you go in, so it's not very often, they change up when you do the Halloween nights there. They change the mazes and you end up in different parts of the towers a lot. But obviously they put a lot of prop walls up and stuff, so you're not actually really seeing the interior. I went on one occasion and it was in like the main hall, so I actually got to see the massive windows.
Is it still in good? Because I was going to ask you this, because
not really.
For our listeners, just to make it clear, I don't participate in these scare mazes at Alton Towers. I am the reluctant ghost hunter. Cheri has actually done these, and did you do an investigation there as well?
No. So.
Oh, okay.
My
question was going to be, what nick is the towers actually? Because from the outside, it looks pretty.
Yeah,
not great.
It's not great. So I'll answer this as a two-part question. So the have I investigated part, no, and I'm fuming about it to this day. One of our listeners...
Oh, you'd bagged it, hadn't you?
We had it booked.
Yeah.
One of our listeners, you know who you are, booked this location about 10 years ago for us, maybe even 12, 13 years ago at this point. And something happened and we couldn't afford to pay the bill on it when it was due. And it got cancelled, when actually all of us agreed afterwards we'd have taken a loan out to pay for it if we needed to. And literally a month after that, they called it forever on letting ghost hunting groups in. So we lost our opportunity to go, and my heart still breaks.
Do you know why they said no more? Because I didn't know if it was to do with the quality of the building.
I think it's a number of things. I think it's the structure, and you've got to. Yeah, I think it's that.
Because Most Haunted did it, didn't they?
They did, yeah. I think that they started to lose, and you find this. This is the really unfortunate part about being English, is it's a two-pronged issue, because we've actually got really lucky in that we've got all of these amazing historic buildings, but the problem that comes with that is they are old and we're starting to lose them just through general
You would
disintegration.
think with the amount of money Merlin must be making,
but I don't know how much
some into upkeeping.
You would think
that massive house that's in the centre of the park.
You would think, but I suppose interior-wise, there's not really much need to do that. I think there are still rooms that they maintain because I think they hire it out for like banquets or special events. But the towers itself, like, it's vast, it's massive in there. And I've walked through it as part of the scare maze because actually it wasn't part of the scare maze. To get to where the scare maze started, they actually took you all the way through, and we ended up going up one of the tower staircases. I was like, can I just do this? Screw the scare maze. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to explore all of this. And I ended up going through the conservatory and the gardens, as you just mentioned, around the Grey Lady, and it was absolutely amazing. But yes, it's not the worst I've seen. I've been in a lot of really horrible condition old buildings. It's not going to fall down, but it's not, they've not kept it up in terms of like, it's not great. Like, some of the furniture is still like, they've still got mirrors and like the odd sofa in there that they've covered over with sheets and stuff, like old stuff that's still in there, but not massively. But yeah, it's not in the best condition. But I think from why they've stopped people from going in, I think it's the more people go into these locations, the more it degrades because of footfall. Yeah. And also, unfortunately, within the UK, there is a massive problem with teams who don't have any respect for buildings. We've lost a lot of buildings throughout the UK as locations that you can hire to go into because of really disrespectful teams, which is a massive problem that we've got here because there's no regulation on who can be a paranormal investigator. There's lots of places where people have been investigating museums and broken stuff, and the museum said, right, no more. Like, they ruin it for everyone. So I would imagine it's a bit of an everything, and also paying security guards and getting security guards who are going to be able to cover that much space. They'd have to close off areas for you to not be able to investigate, and it's just not, I just don't think it was viable with how vast and massive a location it is. And they'd also have to stop people from being able to get out into the park as well, which wouldn't be easy. So it's a shame. It's an amazing building. I would absolutely die to investigate it, but I just doubt very much that that's possible again, which I'm very sad about.
Another one of the more well documented paranormal incidents is going back to Hex and where you thought it was.
Yes.
So that would have been the Armoury.
Oh,
which is
what
interesting.
Ride am I thinking of? The shooty ride? Because that, like, you go in, I can see the entrance to it, and it is
with the skeletons and stuff.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I can't remember what the ride's called.
I don't know what it's called. And I think that's changed now to the Curse of the Towers.
Oh. Okay.
It's still a shooting game, but now there's like a demonic little girl that like chases you around and stuff.
I love that. That's terrifying. Oh yeah, it's like its own house. Sorry, I'm Googling it as we speak. It is basically like its own little like side. So it's not physically connected to the main house, but it is its own, sort of looks Tudorish with a turret and stuff. I think that's why I thought it was part of the house, because it looks like it's connected, but it's not.
But yeah, one of the other main ghosts is the Angry Earl, who is said to reside in the old armoury.
Okay.
Which is the Hex entrance, which is the only paranormal ride relating to the actual building itself, and where a lot of activity happens, which is a nice coincidence.
I wonder whether that's manifested.
And going back to the Most Haunted episode, there's quite a famous clip of Yvette screeching. When aren't there?
When is Yvette not screeching?
And they're in that area, and little stones being thrown at them from supposedly nowhere.
When are there not stones being thrown at Yvette Fielding?
Which is a really common one in that particular area.
I miss Most Haunted. What a time that was.
I know. We need to bring that back.
I think we need to sit down and watch that episode.
Yeah, shall we? After. And then also there's in the gardens itself, apparently a man in medieval dress would also just roam the gardens as well. And sleep as well. Just chill.
Oh.
And it doesn't take a long Google search to, obviously, like I say, there's loads of workers that obviously work at Alton Towers all the time. And the main themes that I saw on all my research, so people monitoring CCTV cameras, there would just be faces.
Oh, I hate that.
For seconds, and then as soon as you look back again, you call your friend over like, what's this? As soon as you look back, there isn't one. Going back to the Grey Lady, she seems to appear in ride queues particularly, so people shutting down rides. you turn and the entity is convincing enough that they think it's guests who haven't left the park yet.
Oh.
But it's a case of as soon as they walk up to them to say,
They've
like, you need to
gone.
leave, she's sort of just evaporated
Interesting.
into thin air.
You think eventually they'll be like, no, that's not a guest, that's just Guinevere. I don't know why I chose the name Guinevere to attribute to her, but it feels right.
Brilliant name. And a lot of these stories I was looking at, again, sort of like people working at Scarefest and things like that. Obviously, they have their own staff corridors to man the mazes. Obviously, sort of like the rat runs behind, like you mentioned, the prop walls. Just a lot of footsteps. If you were the last there closing down, just a lot of footsteps in distances when there wouldn't have been anyone else in the room with you. Also, just random smells, random clanging. A sight of disembodied boots was a common one. So you'd just see the boots walking around that didn't belong to anybody. Well, there were no legs.
Creepy.
I know. Creepy vibes. But I have to say, I didn't read any stories that I thought, my God, it was all very much split second, trick of the light.
Yeah.
You're working in a scary environment anyway, mind playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
So to be honest, researching it, I was getting a little discouraged, like, oh, this isn't, like, to look at it, you'd be like, oh, I bet there's stuff going on there.
Yeah.
So as I was researching more and more, I then came across, so it is stories belonging to, let me just make sure I get his name right, William Broome. I don't know if you know who that is.
No.
So he was the son of John Broome, who was the Alton Towers. So when the house first started, like you said, he was the guy who said, you know what this place needs?
A theme park.
That was John Broome. That was William Broome's father.
Right.
So Will Broome lived there from when he was a boy to 19 years old.
Okay.
That was when his family owned it. Before then, sort of like, I'm guessing
Passing
Merlin
it
or
off,
whoever.
yeah.
If there was a pre-owner to Merlin,
do you
I'm
know
not sure.
what year the first? Because it wouldn't have been a roller coaster that would have been the first. It would have been like a carousel or something back in the day. I don't know what year the first ride or whatever. Because I imagine what they probably would have done first. This is just me completely freeballing.
They lived there since the 1920s.
1920s.
And I believe
they opened the gardens first, I think.
It was the gardens first. There was gardens,
yeah,
but they developed them more into like the public being able to come and roam around. And I think that was the aim.
Oh, and then we need to add a drink stand so that people can get a refreshment.
A Ferris wheel,
and then
like
it just goes from there.
It just landslided from there because it obviously proved to be popular.
Yeah, because the first roller coaster was the corkscrew, I believe, which no longer exists, but you can see one of the track parts at the entrance, can't you?
Yes.
I did go on the corkscrew once. I hated it. It was horrible. The only thing, and I might be jumping ahead here, but 13. Have you been on 13, the ride?
Yeah.
So
the Girl in the Woods.
Yeah, and that's, again, I wonder whether or not they've done that based on the woods, because the whole part of it is that if you go down to the woods today, and supposedly I think the story behind it is that they'd uncovered a burial ground in the woods, like an ancient burial ground in the woods when they were digging.
I didn't come across that. I think I would have done if it was real.
I think that's the premise of the ride, but I'm wondering whether or not they've tried to link that back to the history of the park in that regard, because it is quite creepy. 13, I love that ride. But when you queue in, it's all that like spooky vibe, and the kids laughing in the woods thing, which I bloody hate. But yeah, so I mean, I'd capitalise if I was built on a supposedly haunted site. I'd capitalise on it as well for my marketing, to be fair.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you've got a massive house to maintain and
you want to draw people
like
in,
that, and the tourist thing works, you'd absolutely do it, wouldn't you? So yes, so on my research, I was reading all these little tidbit stories, and I wasn't particularly inspired. But then I came across, so William Broome, like I say, the son of John Broome, who lived there from 0 to 19, he did a whole blog post on his experiences, or like his family's experiences whilst living there, and there is quite a few.
Ooh.
And I thought, do you know what? Like, that's because some of them are quite detailed, and they're not just because a lot of them, like the attic parts of the house, I saw a shadow up there, like did you, or was it a bird flying past a window and it created a shadow?
Exactly.
Like, they were all very much of a muchness, whereas someone who has spent sustained lengths of time there, some of these are really, really good. So I'll just, from his blog post, I'll just read you a few excerpts. If any listeners want to read the thing in full, because like I say, it is quite long, just visit towersstreet.com and you can find the full excerpt there. But I will just find it now. So, George Noakes, our head gardener, would often see a man in medieval dress deep in the gardens. He tried to speak to him on a number of occasions because he had honestly presumed that my grandparents had hired an actor in themed dress to roam the park, but he somehow always eluded him, seemingly evaporating into the bushes. It was after many years that George realised that the medieval man never aged and accepted that this was clearly a spirit, despite his cynicism.
Clearly a spirit. Clearly a spirit, despite his cynicism.
But that's quite an interesting one.
It is, isn't it? I do like these.
If you have a personal rapport with that ghost and you can see over, like, if he worked there for 10 years and it is the same dude in the same outfit, you can't explain that.
Really, can you?
You can't explain that any other way.
What I do like about this premise of this seems like one of the only families that really is like lived here. It's nice that we're finally getting to hear some of those stories, because obviously, especially this elongated experience, because if you were there just at the hunting lodge and you saw something, you saw this dude, you could probably logically just be like, oh, maybe my eyes are just deceiving me, it was just
someone
dude.
is roaming around that shouldn't be.
But when you have seen this for 10 years and you live in that location and you're seeing this constantly, that's when it starts to become tangible. So I quite like that.
Another story that he writes about is in the old gift shop as well, that they had quite a lot of experiences. And I liked this because it's different. Again, it's very different from your normal, like, oh, some books flew off a shelf at me and
I got some stones thrown at me.
Yeah, basically. So, the amazing thing about this is that the first paranormal activity Hippo personally witnessed. Hippo's like an uncle, I don't know why they call him Hippo.
Interesting.
In his early years at the Towers gift shop was when he came in early one morning and discovered a series of numbers randomly cut out of a book and left on the counter for him to discover. So this is after they've locked up for the night, and then he's obviously coming in the morning to open up shop. These numbers were 1, 7, 3, 6, 3, 3, 5, and he clearly presumed it was a prank, albeit a very cryptic one. He kept the cut-out numbers out of pure fascination, convinced that they must have meant something to someone. Whichever way he looked at them, the numbers were seemingly random though, until years later, in 1977, when Hippo had moved to Tenerife and the world's worst air disaster unfolded in front of him. At the old airport to the north of the island, it took him about 2 days to realise that 335 people died on the Pan Am aircraft, and its flight number was 1736.
Oh my God.
Was it a strange coincidence, or did he receive a message almost 10 years earlier about a place he never knew he would be at a specific date and time?
I mean, there's coincidence. That's a that's a blooming big coincidence.
If that is true, and what that's a very specific thing to lie about.
Yeah. That would be very narcissistic and very attention-seeking if you were like, do you know what? This is a horrible disaster and all these people
I'm going to make
died.
out I've had a
How can
really
I make
strange...
this about me? Yeah. Not to say that there aren't people out there that would absolutely do that, but it's very, Let's give him his... Let's say that that's true. That would be a vast coincidence. Wow.
I know. So, what kind of spirit does, like, was that a warning?
Don't get on a plane.
Is it a poltergeist?
Maybe it was like just a future prediction of this is going to be an event in your life that is going to change. I mean, I think any person would be changed if they witnessed something like that. Like, it's going to be a pivotal point in your life. Maybe it was just one of those future, like, visions. And it just happened to manifest itself in a weird cut-out numbers. Interesting.
That's very specific, isn't it?
It is.
Another one was perhaps the most sinister, he calls it. Frequently, seemingly random pages would be torn out of books and strewn all over the floor, but once or twice, a bit like the Hippo incident, it would go further. One such morning, my granny and her catering manager, Dorothy Bond, arrived together. They'd both witnessed several unexplained occurrences between them. Dorothy was always losing butter dishes and cutlery at an alarming rate, and they would reappear months later, proving that passing customers hadn't been stealing them as she'd originally suspected. But this was different. The ghost had become personal, proving a level of consciousness, which made the spiritual presence all the more palpable. An alphabet book had been carefully carved up to spell the word D-O-L-L-Y, and these letters were carefully and neatly positioned at the foot of a large bookshelf. Granny was mildly impressed and somewhat amused by this new level of activity, but Dorothy was white as a sheet. Unbeknown to my grandmother, or anyone else for that matter, Dolly was a name that Dorothy hated because it's something she used to be called as a young girl during a particularly unhappy childhood, and she'd left that name behind her years before.
Oh. I mean...
So it's poltergeist activity, but like he quite rightly says,
it's
intelligent
really
poltergeist activity.
And why is it using like
telling you about future
words? That's so odd.
Why do you have the power to cut things out?
Yeah,
and arrange them?
Yeah, that's not. I can't say that that's something that I've come across before. I'm sure there probably are some paranormal stories out there of this happening, but I can't say I've ever come across that specific type of poltergeist activity before, in that they're able to do that, or that that's how they communicate. Very interesting. I just wonder, the word Dolly, is Dolly a commonly used short form for Dorothy? Like, would it be like Rebecca and Becky, like spelling the name Becky? It's not like it's completely impossible for somebody to know that that's a nickname that you were called as a child. 100%. Unless Dolly really isn't commonly used for Dorothy. I don't know. Dot maybe
Dotty
would probably be more common, but yeah, interesting still. I'm not quite as convinced, just because I feel that somebody could have done that, but I'm not fully convinced, but I'm not poo-pooing it either.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
4?
5, yeah. That's in the middle, yeah. I'll go with that.
Okay. I'll leave this, like I say, there's absolutely loads and loads, but I'll leave this as the last one. His favourite one to tell combines the Towers gift shop and his Aunt Annie. As well as running Annie's shop on the edge of the lake as a teenager, she also used to help her parents do stock takes at the end of each day. One such day was late October at the end of the holiday season. The books that were sold in the gift shop were on sale and returned, and were all piled up on the counter for collection the next day. It was late, dark and a bit spooky, and Annie was in a hurry to get out of there. As she was crouching down behind the counter in the vast vaulted ceilinged entrance hall, it went cold. Then she smelt a strong, sweet smell, like an old Victorian scent, which my grandmother had often mentioned. It was silent, apart from the distant moaning wind outside. Then suddenly, there was an almighty bang immediately behind her. She spun round and discovered that a large book had flown off the countertop and landed directly behind her. On closer inspection, she froze. The title of the book she will never forget: A Stranger is Watching, by Mary Higgins Clark.
Oh, I hate that.
That's like... Oh, wait till the end, Gemma.
Oh, no.
Now she ran, fumbling with her keys to release herself from the towers without looking back. She locked the huge doors and ran to her car outside. But then it got weird, and she can't explain this part. Having started her engine, she turned it back off and just sat there. She was compelled with a burning desire to go back in and get the book.
No.
So that's exactly what she did.
No, you silly lady.
When she got home...
Never go back inside.
When she got home, she put the book on the bookshelf and forgot about it.
I'm sorry. She forgot it. Yeah, just forget about it.
I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just reading it as it's written.
She's a strong woman.
On reflection, she now feels that's when the evil spirit from the towers jumped to her.
Oh.
Years later, her daughter Emma's night terrors started, and that's also when Annie started experiencing unexplained things at home. One day, her very pragmatic husband, Uncle Andrew, told her he was having a bonfire and that he was taking the book that constantly freaked her out to burn it. Surprisingly, she was fine with it, so off he went with the book. A week later, Annie was rummaging around the garage, and to her amazement, she found it. When she questioned Andrew, he was baffled, or concealing the fact he felt compelled not to burn it, so they forgot about it again and kept it. A few years after this, Emma had a school project for which she had to interview someone about an interesting story. She interviewed Annie about the book, and the teacher was spellbound. In fact, so much so, she politely asked Annie if she could see the book. Annie agreed on the proviso that she took care of it and gave it back soon. Annie never saw the book again. The teacher shiftily made up excuse after excuse as to why she hadn't given it back, and eventually claimed that she had lost it.
Lost it, yes.
Knowing the feeling, Annie suspected that the teacher felt compelled to keep the book, but the reality is probably a little bit more pragmatic. A mutual friend of theirs claims that the teacher was also so disturbed by the story that she destroyed the book before she even got home.
So, I have thoughts.
Please tell me your thoughts.
I'm Googling A Stranger Is Watching. That's what it was called, right? Yeah,
Did you want the author
Mary
as well?
Higgins Clark,
Yeah.
I've got it. So, firstly, with the burning of the book, my first thought was, did she just happen to have more than one copy? Because it seems as if the shop she was running was a bookshop.
It was a gift shop that had books.
So, what's to say that she didn't realise she had more than one copy of this book, for starters? So, the book was 1977. The novel was 1977. And I just kind of want to see what the premise of this book is. Because is it that specific book, as in the physical book itself, that has this compulsion on it? Or is it the content of the book that something really wants people to have this book and read this book? That's where my thoughts are going. So I'm just going to read the plot summary. So the main characters in the novel are Steve Peterson, whose wife Nina was murdered 2 years before, his 6-year-old son Neil, who witnessed the murder, and Sharon Martin, a young journalist who befriends them both. The novel opens as Steve and Sharon debate capital punishment. Weird. A young man named Ronald Thompson has been sentenced to death for Nina's murder. So it's basically like a murder mystery sort of style book. So that doesn't make me think, oh, this is a paranormal based book, or there's some weird, message within this book that's compelling these people. So maybe it was just that physical book, because objects, books, anything can, in my opinion, have attachments or have vibes or whatever. I've seen it. I've been to many different museums that have paranormal objects in. There's nothing to say a book couldn't have that as well. So I wonder if it's that specific copy of that specific book.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Portion on it.
Or from the previous stories, whether it is just this particular spirit seems to communicate through letters, books. That seems to be its preferred mode of
bookworm ghost
communication.
Just really wants people to read.
Just really wants people to get in.
Just pick up a book.
But no, on a serious point though, I thought it was lovely. Like I say, people are welcomed. There's loads more.
Yeah.
There's loads more.
Yeah.
He's got uncles, aunts, grandparents' stories, people that have worked their stories. So it was lovely. I thought that was more
compelling.
Yeah.
It's more it's sourced because he knows the people that this has happened to. This isn't like, 1700s. That is so far gone. We're so far removed from those people. And this is so vastly different. This would be like you telling me a story. I'm more inclined to believe you because I know you and I know your mannerisms and I know your integrity and your life and how you react to things and all of that. I feel like he is allowing us a much better glimpse with this blog than something that happened 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And the fact he's got so many, I quite like that as well.
Yeah. A whole sort of bibliography of like their experience as a family on those grounds.
Now, could you imagine if that house had been properly lived in for all these generations, the amount of stories that people would have had?
And it seems to be quite a nice width and breadth of different, like I say, the man who was he part of Slane Hollow? Was he a soldier that fell there?
Yeah.
Interesting to know.
Yeah.
But he seems quite happy, obviously just chilling around the gardens.
I like that for him. To be honest, if I was a ghost, I think haunting a garden probably wouldn't be the worst fate, I suppose.
A stone throwing ghost in the armoury.
Yeah.
And if there is an angry earl, a lady that just seems to float around smelling of lavender.
Lovely.
But like I say, it sounds like the old site of the gift shop is where the activity's actually at.
My thought, so it said on the edge of the lake, so I'm envisioning now walking into Alton Towers through the front gates. There is like a horseshoe shape of buildings there, which is where all the current gift shops and sweet shops and all of that
so
is.
it'd be interesting.
With the lake ahead of you and then the towers on the other side of that lake in the distance. I wonder if that block of buildings there is the buildings that he's talking about. I would be very interested to know. Next time I go to Alton Towers, I might have to have a little like mooch around that area, because you just walk straight past, don't you? You want to like get on your rides, so you don't spend a lot of time looking at the buildings. I couldn't tell you what the buildings looked like. I just know that there are shops. That's all I know. So I think next time I go, I'm going to have a little bit more of a look at like how old I think those buildings are, and maybe see if there's any signs that say that this was the first shop, or this used to be a gift shop, or anything like that. I think I'm going to have to do a bit of a deep dive.
But did you, when you went in person, did you get like any, or do you know anyone that did manage to investigate there? Or
no, I don't know of anyone personally. I know there are plenty of teams out there that would have investigated, and I am going to go away and watch the Most Haunted episode. Your children are probably due back any second now, so we're probably not going to get a chance to watch it now before your kids get back. But
we can schedule it.
We can try and schedule that in. Because I can't remember a large amount about that episode, particularly in what they actually like experienced. But I've been many times, and I've been into various parts of the towers themselves, and obviously the only time when I've actually probably been paying attention was when I was using it as that walkthrough area. And I've got a photo of us, I've got to find it, in the greenhouse, like the conservatory, because it was like a mine. I think the scare maze I was in was a mine, and at the end you took a photo if you survived the mines with like pickaxes and like miners' hats on with lights. So I'll see if I can find that out and just have a look at where I was in that picture, because that was in that conservatory area. But the rest of the times that I've been within the actual towers, obviously I'm so intent on what's going on around me, because there's scare actors, and like there's a whole story, and there's a whole, you're being pushed through, and you go into one area and like there's people
scrambled onto the
running
next.
out of doors and grabbing hold of you and splitting you up, and you've got to crawl through tunnels and stuff. Like your mind is somewhere else. Your mind is definitely focused on the scare maze and not, look at this amazing building that I'm in. And like I said, they put props up as well. Alton Towers is the location where I had my absolute funniest scare maze moment of all time, when me and my friend Rose decided we were going to be really brave and we were going to volunteer to go first in this scare maze. And then they were like, we're going to put hoods on you so you can't see. And we were like, we've screwed ourselves over here. So we were the first two people to go into this room at the end, where they then got, a show. It's an entertainment. There's a girl like the Exorcist getting overtaken by this spirit, and then all of a sudden the priests come in like, everyone out, everyone out. We're now at the end because we were the first two in. We're now the last two out. Rose panicked, threw me out of the way, and I went through one of the fake walls into the dressing room for the actors in this scare maze. So I know that they put up that probably what I was seeing when I was inside wasn't actually the structure of the building, so it's probably not actually the real walls, because they've put partitions up and all of this stuff, and decorated the area, so you don't really get a chance to actually take in what you're seeing. Which is a shame, and I wish that they'd open it up for tours, just guided tours. Like, I would absolutely pay to go on a guided tour, just to be able to stand and get a feel for it, to look properly in the daytime at the architecture, and just kind of think about the people that would have been living in there prior to it being a theme park.
But what do we think of Mr. Broom's tales? Are we thinking
I like that
Alton Towers is haunted? Yay, nay?
I think it's, if we're saying that ghosts exist, I can't see how a building like that wouldn't be haunted. That old, with that much history on the grounds, with I don't know how it wouldn't be. I haven't heard anything that's massively compelling evidence-wise, but I would say I believe that it's haunted. Just looking at it, like, it's quintessential haunted mansion. Like, you can't get much better than that.
And it will tell you that knows about air traffic as well. I just found that story really interesting.
Yeah.
If that is true, that is wild.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah.
Or is that a really clever way of our brains putting maybe they were just random numbers?
They probably were, but
and maybe our brains are really
very
good
big
at putting meaning on random sequences.
Or did he misremember the numbers? and he's now attributed it. Maybe it was a number
Well, he
off.
kept them.
Oh, did he? Okay.
He never got rid of them.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that would have to be a massive coincidence, I think. It's not impossible, but yeah.
What do you guys think? Have you guys been to Alton Towers and seen anything? If any workers are listening...
My God, if you work at Alton Towers.
If you've worked at Alton Towers and closed up at night time and you've seen anything, please get in touch if you've got any good stories to share. But yeah, no, I thought that was really good.
Yeah. And also, just because we like to hear from you guys, we don't always have to talk about the paranormal. What's your favourite ride at Alton Towers if you've been? Please tell me. Mine is definitely Oblivion. I love Oblivion. I will die. Ride and die.
How you enjoy being suspended from a great height.
It's because it's over fast. I just love it.
It just is beyond me.
And Air. It's not called Air anymore. I used to love Air.
I do enjoy Air.
Yeah. Nemesis used to throw me around too much. It hurt. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't really like the upside downy rides very much. But yeah, I love
Wicker Man
Missing
is very
Oblivion.
good. I have only done
and
it
Wicker
once,
Man's
but it was very
fantastic.
good.
Wicker Man's... I will never go on the Smiler. Those of you that don't know Alton Towers, just Google the Smiler and you'll understand why I won't go on the Smiler ever. But Wicker Man at night... I would absolutely, if you get a chance to go to the Halloween stuff that they do at Alton Towers, I would recommend doing it. Let yourself stay there until closing. Go on the Wicker Man when it's lit up and it's on fire, because it's bloody great. And go through some of the scare mazes, because you might get the chance to go into the towers and see some of the areas that we've talked about, and go into Hex as well. But yeah, that's my final thought.
That's your final thought on Alton Towers.
Good theme park. Thumbs up.
10 out of 10 recommend.
10 out of 10 recommend.
5 out of 10 haunted.
Yeah.
And when Cheri actually decides to get off her backside and do some work for this podcast, we will return
with more episodes.
Any hints on anything the guys can look forward to listening from you, Cheri?
Well, I will give one teaser in that we have got some confirmations of some guests that we are going to have on the podcast. I cannot tell you who and I cannot tell you when. We have not figured the logistics out of any of that yet. But when I say it might be my last time on the podcast because I might pass away, that's all I've got to say. Thank you and good night.
See you on the next one, guys.
See you on the next one. Bye.